ロックスか。
ロックスが会いたがってた。
ロックス D ジーベック。
Who is more mysterious than the final boss Emu in One Piece? Without a doubt, it's the man who once approached becoming the king of the world and nurtured 3 future emperors, Rocks D. Xebec. And surprisingly, this legendary figure is the idol of the current Elbaf's cursed prince, Loki. What exactly is the spark between these two characters? Hello everyone, I'm Amy. Oda's hidden foreshadowing technique is once again at work in the Elbaf arc. In the giant setting, their lifespan is 3 times that of humans. 100 years isn't much for giants, but for the wider world, countless versions have come and gone. Thus, the adult giants currently appearing in the story have actually lived through several eras, like Dory and Brogy at 160 years old, Oimo at 153, Yoruru at 408, Hajrudin at 81, and Loki at 63. Any one of them could be said to have witnessed the history before and after the Great Pirate Era. From this perspective, giants actually know many secrets, including the entire process of the Rocks pirates' rise and fall, and some giants even had interactions with Rocks. Let's first comprehensively organize the timeline where Rocks and Loki's paths crossed. 63 years ago, Loki was born. That was also when Sister Carmel adopted Linlin. During that year's winter solstice festival, Linlin's eating disorder erupted, destroying the giant village and killing one of the giant elders, Yoruru. From then on, Linlin was known as the evil god among giants. After causing this disaster, Sister Carmel had no choice but to take Linlin away from Elbaf. But on her birthday, a mysterious disappearance incident occurred. All this tragedy was witnessed by a certain giant and relayed back to the giant tribe, completely destroying Linlin's reputation among giants. Because all these calamities happened the year Loki was born, Loki, the cursed prince, was naturally blamed. In a sense, Loki and Linlin had a connection from very early on. That year, Hajrudin was about 18 years old, still a little kid by giant standards, working hard under the guidance of village warriors to become a warrior. Remember Hajrudin's appearance now, as it will come up again later. 53 years ago, 10-year-old Loki was constantly playing pranks, even threatening villagers' lives. Whenever King Harald was away, Elbaf became like hell. Loki's royal privileges, combined with his terrible personality, made life unbearable for Elbaf's giants, increasing their hatred for this cursed prince. But there's a detail worth noting. Harald wasn't always in Elbaf. He would occasionally leave his country. Hey, what would a king be doing away from his own country? This is an important clue, showing Harald wasn't a king confined to his land. He seemed to be seeking something, trying to change something, or searching for something, making efforts to protect Elbaf. From Hajrudin's memories, we can see that Harald still had his horns intact at that time. This is another detail worth noticing, indicating that Harald later experienced some great change before choosing to cut off his horns. Additionally, in Loki's childhood memories, we see him easily defeating Hajrudin. Hajrudin looks similar to how he appeared in the earlier memory at 18, meaning the two weren't much older, likely around when Loki was 10 and Hajrudin was 28. The reason for pinpointing this time is to research when Rocks and Loki met. From Rocks' appearance when defeating Loki, we can see Loki was about 10 years old, so we can boldly speculate that the Rocks pirates came to Elbaf around 53 years ago, when his main officer was probably only Newgate, Whitebeard. This era gave birth to many future legends who would roam the seas: Roger, Garp, Sengoku, Suru, and others, all in their 20s. Rocks was likely around the same age, adventuring across the sea and seeking powerful companions. Rocks probably heard the story of Linlin destroying the giant village in Elbaf, which led him to later recruit her and Charlotte Strayson. Loki once wanted to sail with Rocks and even reminisced about it when he grew up, feeling he was born in the wrong era. If he hadn't been a child then, he might have had the chance to sail with Rocks. From Rocks' reaction back then, he came to Elbaf to seek powerful fighters. But Loki was still small. The 2 giant warrior pirate captains, Dory and Brogy, were on Little Garden, and the giant warrior pirates were in a semi-disbanded state. The strongest giant in Elbaf at that time was probably King Harald, known as the Great Warrior. Harald likely confronted Rocks, leading to several possibilities. One is that Rocks tried to recruit Harald but was rejected, as no giants appeared in the later God Valley battle. Another possibility is that while Harald didn't join the Rocks pirates, he reached some deal or cooperation with them. Rock's ambition to conquer the world aligned with the giant's dream of a sun god who could rule the world. Harald might have seen some possibility in Rocks. Remember, the giant royal family guarded a legendary devil fruit. Typically, such heirlooms come with a legend or agreement passed down through generations, a secret only the king would know. The reason we still can't accurately know Harald's motives is because Oda has hidden all the royal secrets about this fruit. Since the giants know the legend of sun god Nika, they likely also know part of Joy Boy's deeds. Although One Piece hadn't been discovered in that era, similar treasure legends might have already begun circulating. The Rocks crew, gathered for profit, would naturally be interested in treasure. Harald likely gave Rocks clues about the treasure from giant legends, and in return, Rocks promised Harald something. What could this request have been? From the Rocks pirates' later attack on God Valley, we can deduce some possible reasons. God Valley gathered many precious devil fruits. Could the giant's legendary devil fruit have been among them? After becoming king, Harald continuously searched for that fruit and established some cooperation with Rocks. The next important time point is 44 years ago, when the Rocks pirates occupied the pirate island Hachinosu and recruited the formidable 15-year-old Kaido. By then, about 9 years had passed since Rocks met Loki. After absorbing Kaido, the Rocks pirates further strengthened, and Linlin was already on board. Rocks' main ship had appeared, and the Rocks pirates could be considered near their peak. Rocks began to think about becoming the king of the world. Sengoku once commented that Rocks violated many of the world's taboos. The Rocks pirates had likely directly confronted the world government and even fought the gods' knights. Whether aiming to replace the celestial dragons or seeking the legendary treasure, they would naturally investigate the secrets of the Void Century, gradually approaching the world's darkness. The next key event was the God Valley incident, which ended Rock's ambition and changed the world's fate. 38 years ago, the celestial dragons occupied the West Blue Island God Valley, prepared rich prizes, and held a cruel competition called human hunting. Pirates came in droves, including the Rocks pirates and Roger pirates. Ultimately, Roger and Garp joined forces to defeat Rocks. The Rocks pirates were destroyed, God Valley was completely erased from maps, and information about Rocks was also erased, existing only in the memories of a few. Unlike the later Roger pirates, the Rocks pirates members didn't fade away after losing their captain. For the next 5 years, they continued to be active at sea, each gathering new companions and expanding their influence with growing reputations. When the God Valley incident occurred, Loki was probably 25 years old, still a youngster by giant standards. Learning of his idol's complete downfall must have been tremendously shocking, but at that age, Loki couldn't do anything. Even worse, Loki's beloved father, King Harald, likely experienced some great change after the Rocks pirates' destruction, losing his fighting spirit and beginning to shift the entire giant tribe toward pacification. Harald asked Saro to open a school, turning some giant warrior pirates members into teachers. The next generation of giants began learning about peace and developing aversion to fighting and adventure, completely different from when the elders encouraged Hajrudin to train. Harald's disagreement with the elders probably began then, but more importantly, Loki, who noticed his father's change, may have misunderstood him. Speculating, Harald's choice to cut off his horns has some connection with the Rocks pirates' destruction, marking the frustration of some of Harald's ambitions and making Loki begin to feel disappointed in his father's behavior. Then came a series of turbulent events. 14 years ago, a bloody incident occurred in the king's castle. Loki killed King Harald and took that legendary devil fruit. Harald departed with all his secrets, leaving Loki and Elder Yaruru as the only survivors. Loki was identified as the murderer, subsequently left Elbaf and caused trouble at sea for some time, earning a special 2.6 billion berry bounty from the world government. 6 years ago, red-haired Shanks captured the troublemaking Loki and sent him back to Elbaf. Around that time, about 5 years ago, Lola rejected Loki's marriage proposal and left Whole Cake Island. This is interesting. After Loki killed Harald, he became a criminal among giants. Big Mom's purpose in wanting to marry Loki was to control the giant's fighting power through Loki's prince status. But if she truly knew Loki's deeds, she would realize this was impossible. And there's a timing discrepancy. Loki was captured 6 years ago, so how could he propose to Lola? Moreover, Big Mom herself is disliked by giants, so how could the giants possibly send Loki to marry Big Mom's daughter? There seems to be more to this story. Many more tales occurred between Big Mom and the giants. These are all the clues we've collected and organized about Loki and Rocks. The biggest mystery actually goes back to the God Valley incident. Perhaps revealing Rock's true purpose would help us understand Loki and Harald's choices. That legendary devil fruit means to the giants what Noah's Ark means to the fishmen. That fruit is connected to some major historical mission of the giants, something Harald would find at any cost. This led to the later tragedy, but Loki eating this fruit is also a kind of destiny. Just like the legendary giant in the mural who once fought alongside the sun god, Loki will ultimately fight alongside Luffy. He wasn't born in the wrong era. Quite the contrary, he was born in exactly the right one. All in all, the upcoming plot of the Elbaf arc is very much worth looking forward to. We've unwittingly reached the conclusion, so that's our analysis of the connections between Rocks and Loki for this episode. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'm Amy, see you next time.